question?
Yes, please.
حياك الله.
Good evening, Dr. Tareq.
الله يحييك.
Everybody, thank you very much for the great speech.
بارك الله فيك.
Actually,
You gotta speak louder, brother.
Okay.
I will repeat the question.
I have a question because you address the three major parties in the Middle East region, which are actually IS, Qaeda, as well as Muslim Brotherhood. Looking at the revolution in Middle East, Tunisia, Egypt, Syria, Turkey, as well as Libya. Do you think who was behind this movement? Who was behind the people who are calling for freedom? You know, this civil war that I can say right now, who was behind it, number one? Number two, do you think there was a major conflict between those three parties to take power over those countries? This is my question.
طيب شكرا. يعني the brother is asking. Okay. The brother is asking is there are three major powers: Qaeda and Muslim Brotherhood, and the third one, ISIS, which is part of Qaeda, as I mentioned. Yeah. And then he's talking about also the revolutions that happened and who are behind them. And is there a conflict among these three powers or movements in their role or wanting to take over? I think I answered all of that, but let me repeat quickly. First of all, who is behind it? It is the young generation. It is Facebook. Who ignited them to do that? It is the ideologies that we have been, and I was among that, intentionally spreading the ideology of freedom, participation, political participation, multi-party system, democracy, freedom. In my speeches that I was attacked upon, I said we should emphasize freedom and a fair election system before Sharia. Because Sharia will only function in this atmosphere. It does not function under dictatorships. So such ideas are behind what ignited the young generation. Of course, it was not me. It came early on from Jamaluddin al-Afghani, Muhammad Abdu, Hassan al-Banna, Abu al-A'la al-Mawdudi, and so on, al-Qaradawi. So it continues this line that we continued to spread these ideas. And the new generation accepted that. So I'll give you a clear example. Before the revolution in Tunis, Tunis is a dictatorship at the time of Zain al-Abidin. It does not allow even prayers without permission. And you should pray only in your masjid. And if you attend Fajr every day, they will question you. Wallahi, I'm serious. Of course, hijab was not allowed. I visited Tunis during that time. So one day, this is during the time of Zain al-Abidin, I saw a group of Tunisian young men and women in Umrah. So in Mecca, I stopped them. I asked them, "You're from Tunis?" They said, "Yes." I said, "What brought you into being committed Muslims? I mean, it's not allowed. Da'wah is not allowed." They laughed. Said, "What?" I said, "Dr. Tareq, it was you." I said, I did not talk to you. I said, "Yes, you talked to us through satellite." So these things changed the world. And the young generation had an open mind to take it. So who was behind it? It was the young generation, not us. But these ideas that we inherited from the others and we spread to them are the ones behind it. And it is done by sincere people. I have no doubt about it. Okay? Now, Qaeda and ISIS is the same thing. I mentioned that. Now, Qaeda and Ikhwan are a major conflict. Major conflict. We do not approve of Al-Qaeda. We do not approve of their methods. We do not approve of their ideology. We believe that they are a danger to Islam itself. So, yeah, are we fighting over who controls the Muslim world? No. We are not fighting against them. We are fighting against dictators. This is our major enemy, dictatorship. Now, it is not that we want to rule the Muslim world. We want the Muslim world to be ruled by Islam. Who rules, we don't care. It doesn't have to be us. So this is a huge difference from their ideology. So yes, there is an ideological conflict, but to us, they are not the major enemy, except temporarily. The major enemy is dictatorships.
The second question, please. We had.
Yeah, I have a chef. Great enlightenment tonight. Thank you very much. The first one about the sectarian war that you said about Hezbollah and Iran supporting ISIS, and they're coming in.
Not supporting ISIS.
I mean, not supporting ISIS. They are fighting that, supporting Bashar.
Yeah.
What I gather also is about this is really about strategic mode, which is their fight is with the Israel. That when the line of where they got the supply for arms is being threatened, so they make them come in. That's number one. Number two is about the state foreign policies, which is you see Vietnam War started by time Eisenhower, and then came in Kennedy war did start, and then Bush started Gulf War, came in Clinton. They didn't pull their combat backs to stay. So regardless of whether Republican or
Democrats
in the state, we still have a unique foreign policy. That's the second one. The third one, Chef.
No, enough.
Very last one.
Yeah.
You did mention, I mean, someone relayed information to me that your stand toward Malaysia or past in Malaysia way back in 1988 was like PAS was not the only Islamic movement there. Have you changed your stand now?
طيب, quickly, yes, definitely Hezbollah felt threatened that the supply line of weapons coming from Iran would be interrupted, but that is not the issue. They defend Bashar personally and ideologically speaking. So it is a very clearly a stand with Bashar, not only with the regime. So yes, it has an effect. But I tell you, for example, Iran supplies Hamas with weapons. I know that for a fact. Okay? It doesn't go through Syria. It was not interrupted, huh? Unless, when did it stop? It stopped when Hamas took a stand against Bashar. So again, you see a sectarian move very clearly. I mean, if you are against Israel, you should continue to support Hamas. I know for a fact they gave Hamas $150 million a year. They stopped that because of their stand against Bashar, etc., etc., etc. So it is clearly sectarian. On the issue of Republicans and Democrats, yes, it is not 100%. But the only foreign policy that both parties commit to is the Truman Declaration. The Truman Declaration in the 50s, that America will go to war only in 3 cases. Anything else is difference among opinion, parties, etc. But 3 cases, all of them, Democrats, Republicans, anyone else, would commit to a war. The first one, if America is threatened. The second one, if Israel is threatened. And the third one, if the Gulf oil is threatened. So it's very clear. Right? Now on my stand, I don't know where you heard that, but yeah, okay. I believe that every Islamic work, if it is not deviated from Islam, should be respected. And I do not believe in unity. But I truly, wallahi, I learned this in life. Trying to unite all parties, all ideologies is impossible. I believe that it is impossible. But I also believe that we can unite on issues. So we should take issues and get united upon them. And sometimes we can get united on a temporary basis. For example, elections are fraud. Let's all unite to stop the fraud, even with non-Muslims. This has nothing to do with principles. The principle here is that the elections are fraud. So I would unite everyone, not only the Islamists. I should work with the Chinese who are clean on this issue. So this is how I stand. So am I pro-pass? I am pro, I don't know who's the others there. But frankly, I am not pro anyone. I am not even, although I am in the leadership of Ikhwan, I am not pro-Ikhwan. I am pro-Islam. This is what should be our principle. Meaning that I know for a fact that there are some ministers in our government who are sincere. And I would support them. I would work with them. So it's not either you're with me or you are not. No, it doesn't work that way. So I am with anyone who takes the right stand, especially ideologically speaking. So I hope I answered you.
How much time do you still have left? Okay, yes, sir.
So give the sisters.
Ahla wa But unfortunately, I'm not that optimistic solution to the Muslim Ummah. I have seen two issues that I think. First is Islamic education. I've long suspected that Islamic education that we are having now, you mean the Islamic school, they have failed. They have failed us. This is what I believe. So, if we don't reform this Islamic education, I don't see we have that much hope to revive our condition of Muslim Ummah. So, but still we do not have any clear ideas on what should be our Islamic education. Okay, this is one. Second thing is that I'm quite pessimistic is on the solution of what is happening now among the Muslim Ummah. We have not mastered the feat of diplomacy. Any conflict, we have failed to resolve it diplomatically. Anything. You see in Somalia, you see in Syria, in Baghdad, in Iraq, we have.
So what is the question?
So, the question is, why are the Islamists are not able to master this feat of diplomacy and solve the problem diplomatically?
No. On education, I believe that you are right. The major problem is ideology. I mentioned there are two major problems, ideology and leadership. Now think with me about ideology. How do we change ideology? The two major forces that change the ideology of any society are media and education. So Islamists in general are weak in both. So we say that our major mission is to change ideology, while the major tools of ideology we don't pay attention to. Back to education, because I've been in education 25 years. And I have currently a company to start schools. I found the following, that in general, of course there are exceptions, but in general, there are two major things that you should care about in education. And that is knowledge and behavior, values. Now, in our part of the world, I don't know about yours, government education has no knowledge and no values. Islamic schools have values, but no knowledge. Western schools in our countries, international schools, have knowledge, but no values. So what we need to do is to establish schools that combine modern knowledge with values. And we have done that. We have started a movement in that. So we started a school in Kuwait called the Creativity Academy. We started a school in Jeddah called New Generation. And we currently have, our latest school is in Muscat, Oman. It's called Al-Ruwad. So you can check them. One of the highest systems in the world. in education, and at the same time, Islamic studies, Quran, Arabic, which is usually not found in international schools. So we are trying, yes, thank you for this, we are trying to pinpoint this to the Muslim movements. Change your strategy. Focus on media and education. That's how you spread ideology, which is your most important service that you want to give. Your mission is to change ideologies, and you don't have the major tools. Now on diplomacy and policies. Diplomacy and policies don't come naturally born with you. You must be trained, either from your family, and usually those who are in leadership families see that, get trained with that, or you get actual training. Who trained our leaders in Islamic world? So now we are starting a movement in training the new generation of Islamic leaders. And part of the training is on power, influence, diplomacy, politics. So this is part of our training now. And alhamdulillah, this is becoming very effective. But you will not see the results. It will take about 15 years. No.
And we'll take another 2, one sister and one brother, inshallah. Sister, it's okay, you can go. Or you can go.
تفضل.
Last time.
اوكي تفضل شيخ عبد الله.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. اهلا وسهلا.
You talk on the issue of talk is very revolutionary
بارك الله فيك.
and will disturb many scholars today.
I'm sorry.
That is for sure. Even in Malaysia also, that I have heard a lot, that when you come in here in UK, they don't like you.
Alhamdulillah. Brothers and sisters, I am not here to be liked. That is not, I'm not running for elections. So I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to, I mentioned why I'm here. I'm here to make you think. I hope I made that clear.
In 1988,
Yeah.
when you talk about leadership, in Buffalo,
Yeah.
yeah, I still remember that.
MashaAllah, I don't.
Men are like entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yes, and none can run for. So we have a problem.
Except one.
Except one. So we have a problem in Malaysia that most leadership is either they are from one background or what. They are too long being leaders. And then they dictate others. What have you to say on their ideology? Because they follow Islam.
No.
They have values, but they are incompetent leaders. This is what our problem is in Malaysia and the rest of the Muslim world. Now, we understand that this happened and nobody wants to change it. So the status of our leaders now is just like 40, 50 years ago.
Okay.
Okay? Now you say that in 40 years, things will change.
20.
20 years.
Inshallah.
But now we have been from independence until now is 50 years.
A lot changed. Alhamdulillah, a lot changed. يعني.
This is something that is a mind-boggling.
Barakallah.
And I wish you to talk on this.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
يعني I have 2 criteria for leaders to continue. Otherwise, they should not continue in any position. The first one, which I prefer, by the way, in general, no one should take the same position more than 2 terms. No one. Okay, very clear system, 2 terms. Usually a term is 4 years, 5 years, but not 40. So 2 terms. Okay, that is the first criteria. The second criteria, which is very rare, but it is also possible. They can continue more than 2 terms on one condition. And that is they are very, very, very creative. Meaning that they present new ideas that are revolutionary. That It is not keeping the same status quo, continuing, or little improvements. I'm not talking about improvements. I'm talking major change. If they can do that, then they can continue, like Umar ibn al-Khattab. Okay? But if they don't have either, they should not continue. Let them be advisory. Let them be the council of wise people. But hey, لا truly يعني. Otherwise we repeat the mistake of dictatorships. See, Hosni Mubarak says, if I leave, the country will collapse. We hear the same thing from some of our leaders, which is not true. Which is not true. The second question is about Bismillah. Is about change. Does it? I don't agree that we did not do anything in 50 years. It's not true. I am against whipping ourselves. I'm always. First of all, I'm always optimistic, alhamdulillah. Secondly, many people look at change in one criteria only, and that is political success. But change is not that. Success is not even that. I mean, how many people have we changed? How much advanced our countries are because of us? Are we closer to freedom? Are we closer to modernization? Are we closer to moderation? Definitely, yes, definitely.
I'm talking about leadership.
Yeah, but even, but again, these things happened under their leadership. So we should not attack only. We look for something better. Yes, we want to achieve more. Yes, we believe that we can achieve more. But again, at the same time, we should not underestimate our efforts or the efforts of our leaders. Allah yajzihim khair. They did their work. They did a lot. They sacrificed a lot. Barakallahu fiyum. It is time now for the new generation. Even in Jama'ah, I don't run for elections. I say, give the chance to the new generation. Wallahi, we are there. If we have an idea, we will give it to them. If we have a wisdom, we will share it with them. We don't have to lead ourselves. Wallahi, when you let them lead, you will be amazed of the capabilities that you will see. We have done that. So, yes, a lot have been done. A lot can be done. And it is time to give the new generation the chance. Barakallah.
Sister, yes. I'm in this side. Okay, sir. My voice is shaking. So I haven't really got time to put my words together, so I'm going to read a bit. Okay. So my first impression when I was coming to this is an Arab speaker, and I was like, okay, I hope he's not going to be biased with all, Islam is good, Islam is the best, and all that. So I was very, very relieved when I heard the whole speech today.
Not all Arabs are the same.
Don't
stereotype.
So just coming back to what I'm trying to say. So I've been long enough being trained under, everything about Islam is whatever is the point of view of the Islamic scholarship. So I've been working with an American company now, so obviously all my colleagues, all my co-workers are non-Muslims, most of them. So the interpretation about Islam has always been, my understanding about Islam has always been, whatever the scholars are telling you, that is supposedly your stance and you're not supposed to question that. Just to drive my point home, I was talking to a co-worker, he's an American, and we're talking about all this ISIS stuff going on. And obviously my point has always been, whatever the leaders in Islam is talking about, they should have their point, they should have their own, they should have gone through process of istikharah and making the decisions and all that stuff. So this American came back to me and said, okay, this is so typically Muslims talking, very defensive, and this is all what Christians has been talking about. You should not question the priest because you've been called something else, deviate from the Islamic teaching. So he suggested me reading this one book from Leslie Hazelton about the Sunni and Shia split. It goes back to the whole point that whatever we believe in our Islamic teaching right now may be just be interpretation, and it can be very different interpretation. The Sunni Shia aspect from Leslie has a good point of view. So my question is, I was just hoping throughout the speech that you're going to make a comment about this one. What do you think? One comment in her book about the Sunni Shia aspect, it all goes back to the typical inherent quality of Arab people. Very tribe, what do you call it?
Tribal.
Yeah, very, what is the word? Well, let's not putting any Arabic words in it, but anyway. So she says saying the whole point of the Muslim split was during the I'm sorry, anyway. So Muslims starts to clash because of the tribal defensiveness. And then, so the point that she's trying to drive home is that is typically what the Arab people are actually displaying right now. They're very tribal, da 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 da. Another point is, do you think Muslim could ever strive and then come back from the Arabs, or do you think, what about your comments on the Muslim rising in West? Are they, is Muslim going to rise from the West or?
Barakallah. Thank you, my daughter. I have 3 daughters and 3 boys also, so because I believe in equality. And my daughters are all educated in the West. Their Western education is from kindergarten all the way to PhD. So you sound like them so much. So I get this at home all the time. And believe me, it is totally wrong to stereotype. I can show you books written by Muslims and some written by Arabs and some written also by the West on the reason for the decline of Muslims in Spain. It is the tribal mentality, and it is the conflict between Bani Qais and Bani Yaman. This is garbage. Wallahi, yani. Wallahi, I'm serious. Yani. I'm a scholar. See, I'm trained as a professional engineer. My PhD is in simulation of oil fields in computer models.
I've read you're a petroleum engineer.
No?
I've read that you're probably the petroleum engineer.
I am in petroleum engineering, and my PhD is in simulation of computer models of oil fields. So it has to be very systematic. Okay? Wallah, yani, I cannot think unsystematic. I cannot. Yani, Islam teaches me to be systematic, and my training teaches me to be systematic. So both ways, I have to be systematic. To stereotype, meaning that Muslims will never succeed. Muslims will never have any chance, because this is inherited in their genes. There is a garbage book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. There is a new book, yeah, sister, my daughter. There is a new book called Men Are From Earth. Women Are From Earth. Deal with it. So Arabs are humans. Americans are humans. Europeans are humans. Malaysians are humans. There's nothing in our genes that stops our advance. It doesn't. I made a full research on creativity, and I made a full research on intelligence. And there is a theory by an American, by the way, that those who are from Southeast Asia are smarter than the rest of the world. No. Of course you wish. And he gives the proofs to that. That was challenged, and it was proven that it is wrong. And that all nations, all people have the same percentage of typical, nothing. So don't stereotype. She is wrong, I assure you. My daughter, I did a full research, as I told you, about history. No nations on earth had more wars than the Europeans. No more, nothing more. Deaths, wars, number of wars, years of wars. If there are nations who are in their genes to fight and conflict, it is the Europeans. Wallahi. I mean, everything that we see in the Muslim history does not compare at all. Yeah, to the level that in my history book, I usually write about wars. I stopped writing about European wars. It's too many. I mean, too many. They never stop. Until lately, until World War II, there's too many wars. So I can say the same argument about the West. And I would say that, I could say this, that the West did not advance until the Jews came to it. I could say that. I could prove that as a theory. Yeah, but wallahi, in short, all nations are the same. There are nothing in our genes that stop us. Men are not from Mars. So, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. We can overcome this. I gave you the roots of our problems. It is not our genes. It is not our tribal. It is colonialism that instilled in us the puppet governments that kept us under dictatorships. This is very short, very simple. Now you see, for example, Turkey. Turkey now is ruled by a Muslim, a true Muslim, by the way. I met Erdogan several times. But he uses the right model of Islam, the right presentation, the right game. He plays with the game. And he's very effective. It is us that need to change, but it is not in our genes. We can't change. So
I guess my point is really, I want to ask,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was nervous.
Yes.
I was just wanting you to comment on what would be the contribution. You know, the Islam is apparently rising in the West now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. Again, I lived in the West. I know the West. I know the Muslims in the West. I assure you, Islam will not come from the West. I assure you that. Islam, they don't have the formula for Islamic civilization. I have done what I call, and I can share that with you. If you want to give me your email, I'll send it to you. I have done a model on what is the equation for Islamic civilization. And it boils down to 5 criteria with 5 factors in each criteria. Muslims in the West don't have that. But at the same time, saying that, and also knowing the young men and women of the West, including my children there, I have 4 currently in Boston. I have no doubt that the quality of young men and women trained in the West are, in general, higher than the average in the Muslim world. So they have a huge ability to contribute to our advance. That they must contribute to our advance. But to expect it to come from there, I don't believe in that. By the way, I used to say that until I became more mature. I'm not saying about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm sorry. Assalam.
Thank you for your speech. I think it was very thought-provoking. This is my first time that I've followed your...
first time you hear me. So you must make kafara.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not one of the 9 million who follow you. So.
Then another kafara.
I can't help thinking that there's how do you say, a streak of sarcasm with respect to the scholars and the ulama in your speech. And I mean, you know that in Malaysia, and particularly currently with PAS, the concept of the leadership of the ulama is very central, right? And it has been, I mean, the reason for the revival in PAS all this while. But of late, this will get me in trouble. But I'm already in trouble. So, of late, there is a sense of it being a restrictive kind of element within the movement. As an example, you mentioned about the leadership should be limited to only 2 terms. I know what will be the answer. They will say that all the khulafa, Abu Bakr, Omar, Osman and Ali served until they died. So this concept of changing the leader after every 2 terms, I mean, is bid'ah. So, I mean, our main problem, I believe, is that we are not able to differentiate between what is qat'i and truly the principle and what is ijtihadi, right?
Right.
So currently when we talk about the Islamic State, I mean, most of the people will say, okay, what that means is that the non-Muslims will all become Ahlul Zimma. Yeah? And that's the nature of that is the Islamic State. That is what the Quran teaches. That is what the Prophet ﷺ practiced. That is what was practiced during the time of the Khulafa. So, but there's no room for ijtihad. So how do we move in this kind of?
Again, I'm not talking about past. يعني seriously. I am not part of PAS. I'm not part of any group here. I'm not here to support any group. I am here to share with you ideas, and and I hope I was successful to provoke ideas. The concept of the ulama leading is not a Sunni concept. It's a Shia concept. Wallahi, it was never in our history. Nobody in our Islamic history presented this idea. This is bid'ah. This is clear bid'ah. Never, even in the time of Khulafa al-Rashidin, the scholars led. Only the scholars led. It never happened. This is a Shia concept. This is not a Sunni concept. Okay? Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anh had major people around him who are not scholars. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he chose a leader to lead the battles in Iraq, sometimes he chose scholars, sometimes were not scholars. It is not continuous. But I give you a very clear, proven, accepted by all the companions. Muawiyah, when he ruled, in the beginning there was difference, but after Al-Hasan submitted to him, everyone gave bay'ah to him. It is a unanimous agreement that Muawiyah was not a scholar. And he was accepted by all companions. Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Al-Hasan ibn Ali, Al-Husayn ibn Ali, everyone gave him bay'ah. And he was not a scholar. So all the companions were wrong? Come on, this is not, again, the concept of bid'ah itself has a problem here. No, seriously, because see,
I was just joking.
yeah, I know, and I know you are not joking. You're revealing what others say. I'm smart enough to know, طيب. Okay, I know it's not your idea, but you are being sarcastic here. Okay, the idea of bid'ah. So what is bid'ah? What is truly bid'ah? When at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, Muslims did not pray Taraweeh in Ramadan. The whole life of the Prophet ﷺ, Taraweeh was not prayed Jama'ah, except 3 days only. Only 3 days in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And they did not pray in the time of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. It is only in the time of Umar that he collected them to pray Taraweeh in Ramadan after Isha. What did he say? He said, "Ni'matil bid'ati hadhihi." This is a great bid'ah. Now these are the exact words of Umar, about an issue that is related to religion. Ni'mat al-bid'atu hadhihi. This is a great bid'ah that all the companions accepted. So, brother, I have studied bid'ah. I studied bid'ah from a PhD dissertation on bid'ah. Okay? So most people who speak about bid'ah, they don't know what is bid'ah, unfortunately. Wallahi, seriously, they don't know. I mean, if they say it's a matter related to religion, so wait, what is not related to religion? So is politics related to religion? So everything is related to religion. So everything should be bid'ah. This is the wrong concept. Bid'ah concerns worship, direct worship. Anything else is ijtihad. So leadership, who should lead us, etc., has nothing to do with bid'ah. This is confusing issues, putting them together, mixing terms that are not mixed. Otherwise, they should explain how Umar says نعمة البدعة هذه, etc., etc. So again, I would say clearly, if we are going to use the word bid'ah, then definitely the leadership of scholars is bid'ah, because it was not done in Islam. And not accepting a scholar in leadership position is a unanimous agreement by all companions at that time, which is ijma'. What is ijma'? The agreement of all scholars at a certain time. They all agreed on the leadership of Muawiyah. So that is ijma'. And he was not a scholar. Unanimously speaking, he was not a scholar. As a matter of fact, many times he had problems with the scholarly issues. He would consult Ibn Abbas. So again, these are confusing issues. So this is a tradition done by past. I respect it as a tradition. But to put it as part of our deen, I would reject that. I would fight against that. Because this is something that they put in our deen that is not part of our deen. I would fight Ikhwan to do it. I would fight past to do it. Anyone. As much as I would fight with Ikhwan, not having some countries, not having women in shura. I would fight against that. This is not Islamic. Sad Hadi is my teacher. Sheikh Abdul Man'am Abu Ammar, Muhammad Ahmed al-Rashid is my teacher. Al-Qaradawi is my direct teacher. Yani. So I've learned from these people. But I learned also that they also, the major scholars, have different opinions. And Sheikh Hadi is a great scholar, well-respected scholar, but he is not the only scholar in the world. And definitely there are others who are more knowledgeable than him. So again, let's have some room for differences that are accepted.
Can I just
Yes.
clarify one item? That,
Yes.
In the concept of the leadership of the ulama, the Majlis Shura ulama, it's not the executive body. The leader, the president, the deputy president, and all that, it's not necessarily.
Okay, I know, but again, it's wrong.
So it's just.
Let me tell you why. If they make a ruling,
They will have to defend it.
if they make a ruling, of course they have proofs for it. Can anyone differ with that?
No.
Then it is wilayatul faqih, which is it's a concept of Shia. This, by the way, this was introduced in Ikhwan. The scholars in our group presented a proposal to start a council for ulama, that any ruling done by the executive council should be checked by them. It was rejected because it will start wilayatul faqih in our jama'ah. So no, ya akhi. Ulama are well respected in their area. But when it comes to politics, we should consult politicians. Yeah. When it comes to investment, most of them are poor. So how do they, know? So let me finish with this. Think with me. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, did he have Majlis Shura?
Yes and no.
Did he have a Majlis Shura?
Yes and no.
And the answer is yes and no, yes. The answer is he did not have a Majlis Shura. He had Majalis Shura. He had a Majlis for politics. He had a Majlis for military. He had a Majlis for economics, which is the highest level of Shura. But he doesn't have one Majlis for all. Nobody is Superman, knows everything. So this is the concept that is great. One of our greatest scholars, Umar ibn Khattab, greatest leaders have applied. And definitely he did not have a scholar group that will govern everything. He did not have that. I assure you of that. طيب بارك الله فيكم جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. حياكم الله. الله يرضى عليكم. تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All brothers, thanking our again, Dr. Tareq Al-Suwaidan, and to all brothers and sisters who attended this. We have a lot of questions to him because of time limitation. This is only that we can have some two-way communication with him. I have a lot of questions to Sheikh Tareq. My dear brothers and sisters, inshallah we have some light food outside. Please make sure that we finish the food before we leave.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, thanking everybody again, and inshallah, full applause to Sheikh Tareq again.
جزاك الله خير. شكرا. وعليكم السلام. حياكم الله.